Ladies and gentlemen, Johnson and Johnson is back in the news. So this is an update. And of course, they're doing what they always do, not take the blame for what they screwed up. If you listened to my video yesterday, they mixed up 15 million batches and they claim an ingredient in it made the batches bad. So today, after the news has gone out, this is the same one that came up with the cancerous talcum powder and also been sued for opioids. Yeah, this Johnson and Johnson. And over the years, many employees have sued them for discrimination in a number of suits because there's a big headquarters. I believe it's in Jersey City of Johnson and Johnson. And when you go down this one street, it's a lot of different buildings that belong to Johnson and Johnson. So they're pretty big here in New Jersey. So this is NPR, April 1st, 2021. So with a company with their reputation, is it really shocking that they messed up a huge batch of virus vaccines? No. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and play this audio from NPR.
There's a problem in Johnson & Johnson's supply chain that could hold up the company's COVID-19 vaccine. A factory that makes a key ingredient for the vaccine made a batch that failed quality standards. The New York Times is reporting that human error is to blame, but this situation could jeopardize the vaccine distribution schedule. Now the FDA is investigating. NPR Pharmaceuticals correspondent Sydney Lupkin is following this one. Good morning, Sydney.
Good morning.
What happened?
Well, it looks like there was some kind of cross-contamination involving a key ingredient. This happened at Emergent Biosolutions. That's a Maryland factory that is manufacturing the ingredient for Johnson & Johnson. Now, the New York Times, which first reported on this setback, says 15 million Johnson & Johnson doses were affected, and the company has not confirmed that. But it's important to note that these wouldn't be finished doses, just key ingredients ultimately bound for another factory to be put into vials and prepared for distribution.
So then how big of a setback is this really?
Well, there are a few ways to look at it. On the one hand, if it is 15 million doses of a single dose vaccine, that's a lot, especially if you're waiting your turn to get vaccinated.
Sure.
Here's Saad Omer, the director of the Yale Institute for Global Health.
If it was, as it seems, the first reports indicate if it was a human error, and the way it was framed, that it was a one-off error, then there will be a hiccup, but then you would expect things to resume.
But if something more is going on, it could take more time to fix. And that means the emergent facility won't be able to help Johnson & Johnson meet its goals as soon as expected.
Is this already affecting vaccine delivery?
Well, so far, Johnson & Johnson hasn't been using the emergent facility to hit the 20 million doses it promised the U.S. by the end of March. That's because the factory still needed to go through the FDA's validation process before Johnson & Johnson could use what it was making. And that's when this cross-contamination was discovered.
And so I guess in a way, it's good that they found this contamination earlier rather than later in the process. That's essentially how this is supposed to work.
Right. So we want the FDA in there inspecting. We want to find problems before drugs and vaccines get out to the American public. You don't want to get a vaccine that's been made wrong. It could not work, or worse, it could make you sick. So it's good to know these vaccines and ingredients are being carefully examined. And when they're not up to snuff, they're not getting into people's arms.
And lastly, how much is Johnson & Johnson counting on this emergent facility?
Well, we don't know when it was expected to become an official part of Johnson & Johnson's supply chain or how many doses it's ultimately responsible for. So the hope is that Emergent works out its problems with help from the federal government and the FDA watching closely because it still needs to pass its inspection. Johnson & Johnson was already behind. That's why the Biden administration brought in Merck to help it with manufacturing as well as some other support. Johnson & Johnson is expected to deliver 100 million doses by the end of May, and that's crucial to the Biden administration's promise to deliver enough vaccine for 300 million adults by that time. But this whole scenario really does show that things can and do happen in drug and vaccine manufacturing, and that can cause setbacks.
Sure. NPR Pharmaceuticals correspondent Sydney Lupkin. Thanks, Sydney.
You bet.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what they're doing is blaming a contractor for the botch. And this is going to set them back. 15 million vaccines that you can't send out now, they're all contaminated. You got to throw that shit away. That is a huge setback. And let me also remind you, none of these manufacturers even met the goals that they set, even back in February. If you remember, they ran out of vaccines. That's because they lied about the production of the vaccines. They did not make as many as they claim. And February pretty much outed them. So now you got this situation with Johnson and Johnson, and they just rolled out um only about what, not even a month ago, with their single shot vaccine. And you saw what happened to one, the man that I showed you in the avatar. That was from the one shot vaccine. But, of course, they do what they do. Nothing is ever the vaccine. It was a rare occurrence and blah, blah, blah. And now I'm finding out it has happened to other people. The same thing that happened to that man happened to other people. So he's only the one they're talking about. But, people are saying, no, 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 there was a woman at the hospital and she had the same thing. Some of my subscribers work at hospitals and they are seeing these people firsthand. So technically, I don't even need to get these news stories. I can get plenty from them on this. So Johnson and Johnson said they have identified and addressed this issue. They're claiming that this was a contractor that botched everything up. They said the apparent mix-up happened at the emergent site, which Johnson and Johnson heavily uses for their ingredients for the vaccine. So emergent didn't even get FDA approval yet. But apparently they're still mixing their ingredients in these batches for Johnson and Johnson's to have 15 million bad batches now. But y'all, it goes back to what I was saying. Everything around these vaccines are bad. You notice that there's always a boatload of bad news coming out. That's why they're trying to take the bull by the horn in the mainstream news, and they're trying to make everything sound so great and rosy, and we need to get back to life and we need to do this and do that. And at the meantime, COVID is exploding in the country and they're trying their best to ignore it. COVID is not something you can just ignore. Okay. Like the fake ghosts in your closet. No, it's not that. You cannot ignore a pandemic, America, but you will learn soon enough. You look silly even making the attempt to ignore a pandemic. You look like fools. No wonder why the world does not look at America in the same way. Y'all don't even have the same respect on the earth that you had even 10 years ago. You don't even have that respect anymore. People are no longer scared of America. When you go off, you saw what happened when you tried to sit down with China over human rights. They fired back at you about slavery and Black Lives Matter. That was actually classic, although it shouldn't have came from China because they don't have no room to talk. But it is just a sign that countries are not afraid of America anymore. They're not, and they're not going to let you come and wag your finger up in their face telling them what they need to do when you got plenty of work, undone work here in America when it comes down to social issues. You're still trying to cling on to the old stuff that worked for you, but you don't realize things are changing. What you did in the past, that stuff is changing so fast on you, it's not even funny. All you can do is wave a gun in somebody's face and threaten them. That's what you're resorting to. And believe me, that's going to disappear too. Just give it some time. That's going to disappear too. And you're going to be in a world of trouble. See, even in the Bible, it says you don't respect anybody that needs weapons in order to overtake people. Now, if you did it with your bare hands, now there's a story right there. but you didn't do it that way. Just like America got built up with a lot of help. A lot of help. But Johnson & Johnson get in line with AstraZeneca that's causing blood clots, and the other two, Pfizer and Moderna, that has killed many people and made many people sick. That's all we're seeing from these viruses. And there's already reports of people getting both jabs and still getting sick with COVID. Now, they keep claiming, oh, well, you won't end up in the hospital. Time will tell. Enough time has not gone by for us to even know that's true. We're just taking your word for it, and we know what your word is good for the last 500 years. It ain't worth a pile of poop. Okay? So we shall see how this unfolds. Y'all get ready for a bad summer. Just get ready. It's coming. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.